What's up, Internet Land? Zachamus Prime, aka Zachamus Prime, here with another Transformers third-party review. This is an ongoing from my list of figures that I borrowed from my buddy Mike. Thank you, Mike, for letting me steal all your Transformers and hold on to them for the entire quarantine. But anyhow, so the figure we're reviewing today is the Mastermind Creations Tyrantron / Tyrantronus. I don't know. Megatron / Megatronus. And this is based on, as with most Mastermind Creation stuff, this is based on his IDW cartoon, sorry, not cartoon, his IDW comic appearance. And this figure is a good looking figure. Like, you know, the paint apps are really crisp on it. There's a bit of mold doubling going on. Like, for example, I don't know that he ever does like two cannons, but they use the exact same part for making both of his arms, so he could dual wield cannons if you want him to. Or it's just, you know, doing what you can to... Actually, that's really cool looking. Or it's just doing what they can to duplicate molding and... Actually, come to think of it, there's not really a whole lot of mold duplication. That must have been an intentional decision. Even though this does look like a bi-directional set of pieces, so... I don't know. I didn't design it. I'm just playing with it. But anyhow, let's pull that off. Here's Megatronus. A long time ago, before he became the Emperor of Destruction, when he was a much younger bot, you might even say he was a miner. He used to dig stuff out of the ground. You might even say he was a miner. And anyhow, then they sent him to go fight in the gladiatorial pits, and he decided that he'd had it with the injustices of Cybertron and basically conquered the place. That's Megatron's story in a nutshell, I suppose. So this figure allows you to replicate his appearance as he appeared as Megatronus, and then also it's got all the little accessories. Let's talk about his accessories real quick. Little panels that you can swap in, an additional head, different chest plate. We already saw the gun attachment that you can put on there, and the second fusion cannon, and another little gun here. Plus, he comes with some weapons, the big old mace thing with a nice, fairly heavy metal chain. The clear plastic part is made from a slightly malleable plastic, so you're not gonna, like, you know, kill your cat with it or something like that. A beam saber, which this blade doesn't feel removable, so I'm not gonna try too hard. Not malleable, but so be careful not to break it, I suppose. And he comes with a another head and a faceplate for that head, which, I mean, clearly this is, I guess, an alternate head for the Mastermind Creations Tarn. And when I pulled this out of the bag, it was like this, and I saw this first, and I was like, oh man, did I break that? Because there's this like little like metallic looking dot there, and I was like, I didn't break this, did I? And then I looked at this and I was like, well, that doesn't even peg in anywhere. It attaches via different tabs, so I don't know what the deal with that is. Well, anyhow, as I was messing with the figure, I figured out what the deal was. For whatever reason, this little thing is magnetic. And I was like, that's weird. And then I realized that there's another magnet in the chest, and it's for both chests of this figure. And so And I didn't even realize this is a thing. Maybe I've got some IDW comics to catch up on, but apparently you can stick Tarn's mask on Megatronus's chest, and it fits fairly well on this one. There's some more surface sculpt here, so it's a little bit more tenuous, but it definitely fits there as well. So, I mean, now I understand that Tarn, specifically had this mask molded to look like the Decepticon sigil, but I just thought that was a weird little thing that was thrown in. You can, I'm gonna wear my buddy's face on my chest. Why not? It's odd, but I guess I like it. So that's something. Anyhow, so we're going to talk all about these accessories in just a little bit. I'm actually going to, usually I talk about accessories and then talk about poseability. I'm going to talk about the poseability first because we've got just a crap load of accessories, and so it's going to facilitate doing things a little bit different. So his head looks down, looks up. There's a couple different joints inside here to facilitate that well. When you pop his head off to put on his Megatron head, it's, in terms of poseability, the exact same thing. So that's cool. His arms go out for the full tree pose. They go all the way around. No problem there. He's got, technically, I'm not really going to count that as his full joint here. So really we'll just say like one joint. But at the same time, that's really not just one joint, is it? He's got 1.5 joints in his elbow, which allows him to bend that much. Full bicep rotation, by the way. The this half joint here, that's actually a transformation joint to allow him to transform into his alternate mode. One thing I do want to point out is that when you put on this accessory, about his elbow articulation specifically, when you put on this accessory and you bend his arm, this thing just loves to fight with this armor plate caution panel here on his shoulder. Like it fights there, and then it fights there, and it scrapes against this plate, and I don't see any damage to this whatsoever, though I think it's been previously displayed, but I'm the first one to actually really handle it and move it around and play with it. It's been displayed, but it hasn't really been played with, I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. You know who you are. But so I don't see any damage, but I would be really worried about paint damage on that. When it comes to his other mode, and I'm just going to swap this out. Spoiler alert, these things swap out. This one here, whoops, that's the wrong one. This sits much flusher. So, and especially when you put on the corresponding fusion cannon, it sits flusher, so it doesn't scrape as much. Plus, there's no pain apps right here, so that works better in my mind. Also, I yanked out his arm just a little bit. There we go. But anyhow, that's a poseability concern that you might want to remain cognizant of. Moving down his arm, he's got a wrist rotation, and he's got a sword bend right here at the wrist, which is great because he comes with a sword. Out of the way, guys. He comes with a sword, and it's always great to get that little tilt out of it. I think that pretty much any figure that comes with a sword should have a sword joint like that, because it just makes for a better looking sword holding pose, when you can angle it down a bit. I just think it looks more natural and more comfortable, and less, I don't know, presumptuous. I don't know what word I'm looking for, but presumptuous wasn't it, by the way. He's got a full waist rotation, which not only rotates fully for poseability, but also rotates for the transformation. He's got skirt armors here, and here on the side, which allow him to go forward that much, backward that much, out to the side that much. When you have him in his Megatron mode, which I will show off in a little bit, you move this panel to the back, and that doesn't change that. It makes his leg go out a little bit further, and it affects how much you can pull this back with that panel back there. So keep that understand. If you want your Megatron to do a standing high kick, Megatron will do it better than Megatronus, because I guess he's had more years to limber up or something. I don't know. Thigh swivel at the thigh, just fine. He's got a double jointed knee for a little more than 90 degrees. It's good. It's serviceable. I'm not going to say it's like mind-blowing or anything like that, but you know what? I don't think that a figure needs to blow your mind to be a good figure, even a really good figure. Because it's interesting to point out that using that single joint, you've got basically the full range right there. This is just, I don't know, butter on the cake. Does that make sense? I don't know. I feel like today is my alien day or whatnot. You've got some ankle rotation here. The ankles are one of the things that kind of, the heel specifically is one of the things that kind of bugs me about this, in that the heel is not a very strong joint. And when you have it sitting, there we go. When you have it sitting flush, it tends to want to fold up like that. Also, you've got this thing here, which is designed to fold out of the way. But like, this is vehicle mode position here. That's as far as I can get that joint to go. So this is as far back as I can get it to go. But even in full vehicle mode, it doesn't hinder the position of this at all. So like, why is this even here except for aesthetics? And why doesn't it pop out more if it is for aesthetics? I don't know. It's weird. Anyhow, heel tilt, toe tilt, ankle tilt. So you know it's a quality figure. And that's it for him for his poseability. So let's get him displayed up in his Megatronus mode. And so he's got the hazard symbols and here on his chest and shoulders, on his head. Really good head sculpt, by the way. There he is from the front, sides, going around to the back. So this is him when he's mining, I don't know, bullshitium or whatever he mines. To put him into his gladiator mode, you just take this off here, attach on this gun barrel here that turns this drill into an actual gun. I think you could probably remove this drill. Remove. There we go. And that just comes straight out. It's a fairly tight joint for this one, but it's not as tight for this gun here. And that just attaches in. That gives him an extra gun for when he's in his vehicle mode. And then you've got a sword that you can give him. And that just plugs in. It's got a 5mm peg. He does have, I forgot to mention, his 4 fingers, his all 4 of his fingers. Actually, this is his pointy finger looks like it might be a different. Yeah, there it is. I can get the one finger to move separately on this hand. It's not a straight finger though, so it's not like you're going to be pointing at anything. It just goes like that. So you might as well move them all together. Anyhow, that just goes in there. The fingers are a cosmetic difference. Put it in there. There's that sword hinge that I was talking about. Very nice. Very, very nice. Very nice. And you've got this guy here with his nice long metal chain. His metal chain that's like coated in a purple varnish. So it's a purpley looking chain, which is nice because you can always count on those clear plastic chains to break because clear plastic is the devil. So he can swing this around, he can shoot things, he can slash things. And that's him as a gladiator. Now, to change him into his Megatron mode, what you want to do is rip his head off. Put on his other Megatron head, which, by the way, his head has got a really good sculpt to it. Old bucket head there. Stick that on. You want to take off this panel here, this fusion cannon, this panel here. All that goes aside. His chest. Then you want to attach on the new chest with his cool little funky engravings there. This panel comes in here. Puts some wing stuff on his shoulder. This panel here. This fusion cannon replaces his last one. And then lastly, you want to take these panels and move them around the back of the leg. Because they've kind of got, it's red and not orange, but they've kind of got that hazard stripe going. And looks more utilitarian and whatnot. So there he is in his Megatron mode. And again, looks really good. He is a pretty damn faithful representation of IDW Megatron. I think he looks fantastic. I don't think Mastermind Creations has ever made an IDW style Optimus Prime, like to go opposite of this. But maybe you could use the Toy World one as a stand-in. I guess that's about the same size. This is roughly. No, let me see if I've got something that I can stand him up next to. Nope, I don't. It's a bummer. Okay, not quite Voyager class. I mean, much bigger than Voyager class, but. Anyhow, to get into his transformation, and I want to point out that his transformation is identical whether you've got him in his Megatronus mode or his Megatron mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transform up, and then I'm going to swap the panels back out to show you his Megatronus alt mode so that we're not making this longer than it needs to be. So to get him transformed up, what you want to do is you want to take off his fusion cannon, pull this panel around and click it into place. That's a landing tread thing. Stick that aside for now. You want to yank on his arm, and that will collapse his hand into his forearm. You want to bring out these panels here, and then you want to just take this, bend this at the upper arm, and then just fold it in on itself. There's a tab here and a slot here. The tab's just going to go into that slot, and then, let me do this again while you can see this. There's a slot here and a tab here. And so that tab is going to go into that slot. Like so. Again, for the other side, rotate, tab, slot, and tab, slot. And take these, rotate them around. By the way, these rotate, and I don't know why, because they don't do anything. They just rotate. So it's something to keep in mind. You want to take and you want to it's like a reverse butterfly joint. You want to pull back on this arm, and that's going to unclip the arm from the chest. And then you can grab his backpack and pull on it. This whole thing's going to come down on this double hinge thingamajig. You want to keep these panels aligned in the back. That's where they're supposed to go. And rotate his waist. And then what you want to do is there's a button right here, cleverly disguised as just a piece of sculpt. You want to push that button and then collapse his leg upwards. So push, collapse. And this panel is going to go right in behind that tread when you get it all the way in, like so. So again, push that panel. That'll go all the way in. These legs will tab together. I guess if you are feeling really ambitious, you could have tabbed them together before you push the legs up. But the legs, they care for nothing. Make sure that this is all aligned. This backpack is going to just kind of rest back here. And then you'll see that these holes right here on the leg, well, that's where the shoulder goes. So kind of just plug that into place. Plug that into place. You've got 2 pegs on this little wingy flap that's going to go into these 2 holes on the shoulder. Bam, bam. You'll take these panels here on the backpack, slide them back. They're going to kind of sync up with the knees there. And then you just take his fusion cannon. You've got 1 tab right there. I wish that it clipped on better than that. But you've got 1 singular tab. That just plugs in. And there you have him in his... I don't know what this is supposed to be. This is tank jet mode. Like, it kind of looks like a weird spaceship thing. But, like, it's got to be a spaceship because it's has 0 aerodynamics. But at the same time, it's got, like, a stack of treads on the bottom. So, yeah. I'm trying to think if I've seen any pictures of him in his alt mode in the comic, and I don't know that I have. So I guess I can't really speak offhand as to the accuracy of this alt mode. But the robot mode looks great, and this is what it turns into, so it's probably one of those things that if you get this figure, you're going to likely display it in his Megatron or Megatronus mode. Visible head syndrome. That didn't work. Or does it? No, that doesn't work. There, we can just hide his shame. Pretend that we don't see the head. But yeah, there he is in his jet mode thingamajig. And so that is something. If you had left all the panels on to have him in his Megatronus mode, let me show you how that would look. So I'm just going to pull out these panels. And swap these ones back in. This has got the same just little tab in there that goes into that slot. Covers that up. Like a little cowling or something. I dropped something off my desk. Oops. And then throw on this, and now he's like, well, he still looks like he's supposed to fly, but he retains the same number of treads, and now he's supposed to be some sort of a drill tank thing. And I mean, I guess he pulls it off. But yeah, there's Megatronus, Mastermind Creations, Tyrantronus. And it's a decent figure. It looks really good in his robot mode. Transformation is pretty simple, like really simple. But it does the job. It turns into a thing, even if I can't quite identify what that thing is. And it comes with a fair amount of accessories, including accessories for other figures. And it's a good looking figure. If you can find one around, I don't know what the going rate for this is. It's been, as of the time of this review, it's been several years since this figure was released, so I don't know what the current state of it is, but it's a nice figure. A good somewhere between leader and Voyager size Megatron representation, and I'm pretty certain it's going to scale well with the other Mastermind Creations figures. So there's that. Especially if you're making like if you're making a Decepticon Justice Division collection, then I promise you probably already have this figure. So I don't know. I'm preaching to the choir, I guess. But anyhow, thanks everybody for watching. If you've gotten this far, you are fantastic. Everybody stay awesome and be good to each other. I'll see you in the next review.